guys, just playing with my shifter here. If you notice, we got a tunnel. That is now a tunnel. It is done. We're not going to have it done in the start of this video, but you're going to see this get done today. It feels really good to have it. I'm really happy with how the tunnels turned out. So yeah, today we got a couple friends here helping me and Tony out. Bob is going to be hanging out with us. New friend Jesse is going to be hanging out with us. He's building a street rod of his own and wanted to get a little change of pace, so he came to hang out with us while I'm keeping the car floored, apparently, while I'm doing this intro. So yeah, we got lots of stuff happening. We got Firewall, pedals, everything's coming in today, and tunnel. So join us, we're gonna have fun today. You're gonna see some stuff happen. Hey guys, this is Jesse, one of Tony's friends, and he's helping us do some fabrication. What are you working on, Jesse?
We're taking the clutch and the brake pedal assembly, and we got to basically just relocate the pedals where our feet are gonna go. So cut off the pedals off the bottom of both of the arms, and then we're gonna essentially just notch out the arms to where we need to move everything, weld in place, and then we'll just put the pedals back on, and Bob's your uncle.
Awesome.
Hey Devin, you're working on the Firewall, trying to get a little bit more finished here?
Yeah, I got this piece fit in here. Kind of, we cut the bit out of the tunnel I made. We weren't sure where this was going to end up, but now it goes level to here. It'll tie our dash mounting bar together. And then I got some wonky stuff going on in here just to make the angles that we need. And that'll make the fill in. That's my template for the Firewall, the main center section. And then we're going to have, coming off the top here, an access plate, because we have spark plugs, fuel pump, and we've left ample room here. We got it under the dashboard, so we'll use it. But that'll be a doghouse, you call that, I guess?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Bolt-in doghouse, yeah.
So if this comes out as nice and transfers to the metal, it'll look just as good, maybe better.
Yeah, yeah, and we wanted that because just in case we need to access that fuel pump or even the spark plug, so we don't want to have to, you know, partially drop the motor or cut up our hands to access the spark plug, right? So
yeah, that's right. So we'll build the whole Firewall, and then we'll get our doghouse built later, I guess. The Firewall is done on this side. This top panel here, I'll just point it out, in here is going to be an access panel that we will bolt into place and remove when we need to work on the car. The studs are for holding the throttle and all the pedals on, and we also got room to work in the engine now. So here's a pedal assembly, clutch and brake, that Jesse modified for us. And you can see where he's done the cuts and re-welded on the two arms of the pedals. And he welded on this side, but then we ran out of time to finish. He was working on a couple projects, helping me out with the Firewall as well. But I just finished putting on this pedal with a spacer. It's about the width of a finger. But I just did two pieces of bar stock and then welded them on. So yeah, the pedals are ready to go back in the car. I mounted up the pedals that Jesse modified. They're looking really good. We've kind of got our spacing where we needed it and wanted it for these two pedals. The clutch pedal, we've kept a little extra spacing. And I don't know if we can get it on camera here. Like the brake pedal versus the throttle pedal is out a little bit further, just like the Miata. And so we can kind of heel toe rev match the way we would like to with that. What do you got going there, Tony? There we go.
Kind of using weld as filler, which is the proper way to do things, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, these little round holes here are going to be where we'll weld in our crossmember rubber bushings, which come off of a shock from an 08 Chevy, I think. 3500? No, 2500. Yeah.
You mean you put Chevy parts in here?
Unfortunately.
Oh.
But
that's the one thing we both agree on, right?
Yeah,
okay.
that's right. Hopefully not too much hate for that comment. Originally we were going to run the factory crossmember mount, but that was because we had to drop our trans lower to get this angle right on the drive shaft. Now we're changing this. This is going to be a lot more low profile. So this will sit in here like this, and then it's basically these will be welded in here, and here, and that'll strengthen the crossmember, which we had to cut quite a bit out of here. So this will put that strength back, plus support our shock or rubber bushings.
That's what the round pieces are, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that'll isolate some of our vibrations. I mean, it will be harsh, but take some of it out. And yeah, so Devin's gonna weld that in for me because he's in this area anyway. So
because you're working on something else pretty cool, right?
Kind of cool. Yeah, we're trying to get the steering hooked up, so which is a big deal. If we ever in summer when we need to push it outside or inside, with my other project, I remember when I got the steering hooked up, I thought, why didn't I do this sooner? So yeah.
Maybe someday we'll tell people what your other project is, eh?
Yeah. Well, it'll be on. Devin will maybe feature it or something at some point.
Once it's fully ready to feature.
Once it's a little closer, probably hopefully this summer sometime.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I like it. I want one as well.
Yeah.
I won't say what it is yet.
Not yet, hey?
Tony's just doing a little work on our steering rack. It was power, but anybody who knows Miatas knows that power rack has a shorter turn ratio from lock to lock.
The other part of it is like our car will be lighter in the front end than a Miata. The back end would be heavier, but the front should be lighter because we moved a little bit more weight off of it. And so between that and the big Mustang steering wheel we have, shouldn't be hard to steer.
Cool. And I myself have now finished that part we just showed you. It's all welded in. And yes, if you go to Tony's education class, you can weld a rubber bushing right beside as long as you keep it cool. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay. So my next goal is we're going to use my favorite word, schmader. And we're going to use this broom handle. It's kind of clamped under the shifter because that's going to be bolted to the top of the tunnel. And that'll keep shifter level for welding in place. We're going to put weld nuts on the back of these. And then we can just bolt it in and out real easy. And I'm starting on the trans tunnel, or not trans tunnel, just the drive shaft tunnel, which is really long. Not.
You're gonna leave that broom handle in there as a permanent part of the structure?
Yep, that should work. Aluminum welds to steel nut.
I think so.
Okay.
I've seen it. No, what was the one I saw in school? It was somebody was welding aluminum. Yeah, it was aluminum to steel with steel welding or something. It stuck a little bit. I remember.
I mean, I've seen on Facebook memes they had wooden shackles, so I'm sure this should work. I'm just prototyping, I guess you'd be the right word for it, our transmission tunnel. So it kind of mounts back here. We're going to weld it onto this flange, and then you can see over here I've got Sharpie laid out where it's going to overlap. So it's going to slide in like that. I've notched a hole for the shifter, and it's going to weld there. And we'll put a bit of a curve in there. It's got some fun notches in here just to get around some of our brackets. And the other thing I did, there's a hole right here. The shifter itself, the mechanism will bolt here, and I've welded on weld nuts to the back side on both sides, and that it'll just bolt in from the bottom, and this is our rubber seal here and here, and when it bolts on here tight, that's what gets this thing tight, and I guess it isolates it a little bit from the vibrations. So we're gonna have vibrations most likely. We're probably gonna pull the rubber out of here, make it feel a little more precise, I guess. Yeah, but I'm gonna build this in steel now.
Hey Devin, you're working on the trans tunnel?
I sure am, for our drive shaft. So this is the piece here, and we'll just get it slipped in the car. It's gonna cover this area. Now you can see the high-tech brace I've made there. So the next step will be welding this in place. So you kind of just fit the bottom in first. Slide it in. This will slide over a little bit and it'll bolt right through here. So it should be good with that. And then I'll just weld all around there. Tony will probably have me do tack welds. He would prefer that.
I'll see. Trans tunnel I'd be more okay with, but the body, the floor pans we welded solid, so
yeah. So maybe we should match them all.
Yeah.
Should I shoot all the dirt out of there before I weld it in, right?
So strip it a little bit. And then I finished the rack here. Silicone some of these up. Took out the valve that apparently causes some drag on it. So this should allow it to steer nicer being manual. So I took out the valve and then the seal that's in the middle, which I think those pieces I threw away already. But yeah, so there's a few pieces there that'll help it steer better. Now we were gonna put a rag joint on this end, but it's kind of pointed right up to this area here in the engine bay, and we want the shaft to run down lower so that it'll hit the firewall at a lower point. So we're missing. I gotta go dig through the scrap pile and find another U-joint for that.
I got one half of the drive shaft tunnel made, and you can see the bolt is there. I kind of oops and I had to weld it back shut, but the bolt is there to hold it down. We'll do one on the other side, and that's welded to the transmission tunnel / engine tunnel and to the cross member, and it's really stiff too, so I like that. It'll give a lot of strength to the car. So we'll go around to the other side. You can kind of see it's just a half right now looking through the back window, and there's the other side of it. And we're going to build this in 2 halves, obviously, but the reasoning being it's easier for me to make 1 half and then the other half, and it'll just be a weld seam along the middle.
How's it going in there?
Awesome. I got a drive shaft tunnel here.
Let's take a look at that. Oh, it's looking a lot better than before.
It's really comfy in here too, you know. And an armrest at least. And it's an itchy armrest, so yeah, tap this down and weld her in place. It's pretty solid now too. Right in the hair. Oh, and I am doing a continuous bead, but there's a lot of strength here, so we're not really getting any warp in this area. So if anybody's wondering why I'm not stitch welding it, that's why. Plus I would like a solid weld on this tunnel, and it's working, nothing's warping, so that works for me. No complaints, please. Hey everybody, we got Bob here hanging out with us again, and he was just showing me what we can do now. Special Mighty Car Mod sound effects.
Not Mighty. No, I'm not that good at that.
It's not happening, right?
No.
I liked your turbo noise though. How did that go?
You know, well, it's woulda because this Ford's not running.
So we just spent last 45 minutes putting 2 bolts in, right?
Yeah, these 2 little bolts here were a pain in the butt, but we got them in.
How many times did we have that bracket out underneath? 4, 5?
4 times, I think.
Yeah.
And we wallered out those holes, although you can't tell because guess what? They're all behind.
All behind.
So
it
looks factory.
I'm gonna come around and we'll take a look at what I finished. Bob's been here hanging out, keeping me company. He had surgery and he's recovering, so it's good just to have the company. But we got this part done now. So this was all of today's project. It does not look like much sitting in there, but the fiddling and stuff's what really takes the longest. Doing the side Bob sitting on the driver's side is that took like a good afternoon. This was maybe 2 hours tops.
2.5.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, that's done. We'll get on to the next thing, but I think for tonight we're gonna call that quits and just do a little hangout time now. So, well guys, girls, thanks for joining us, all 4 of us. We had a lot of fun working, hanging out, doing stuff like that. The video isn't crazy long, but this is almost 3 full days of work. It's tedious when it comes down to the end stuff in the car. This work is tedious. Like this tunnel that we built, that was a full day's work for me. I took the day off work. We've been doing every other Friday off work, me and Tony. We get a lot more done that way. And yeah, so for example, the firewall and the pedals, that was a whole nother day, because there's a lot of fitment that goes in with that. But thanks for watching. I don't do this very often, but like and subscribe if you want to see more content, just so you know when it pops up. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and we're gonna call this a night.